Status of development. So that's what we are usually starting an ILIAS Development Conference to tell you a bit about the status of our development of ILIAS. And let's start with the roadmap. You know that screen. So we are at the orange dotted line, second half of 2025. We have published ILIAS 10 6 weeks ago, 18th of July, and we are now probably at the end of the life cycle of ILIAS 8. Give a bit more about this information so you see where we are located in the roadmap. If we look at ILIAS 8, there's still not even 4 months left for ILIAS 8, the security bug fix life cycle. And the life cycle of ILIAS 8 ends with the end of the security bug fixes at 31st of December. Then really we don't offer any security bug fixes anymore for ILIAS 8. So then at latest at the end of December, it's time to switch to ILIAS 9. ILIAS 9 is already has already, let's say, more than 1 year a stable version. We have still until end of December, we are offering full support of ILIAS 9. So it means also usability bug fixes and things like that, language bug fixes. And then from 1st of January 2026, for another 18 months, we offer security bug fixes. So all those who have merged or updated to ILIAS 9, they still have time to running ILIAS 9. But no usability bug fixes and things like that anymore after December, only security bug fixes. Our latest, newest ILIAS version is ILIAS 10. As I said, published, let's say 6 weeks ago. I know already some institutions have already updated. I don't know if it is I think it will be we publish it in the next days. The blog in our ILIAS blog, the report from Pädagogische Hochschule Bern. They already have updated even 5 days before we've published the stable release. So very courageous. But it worked fine. It worked fine, and you will have a look in the blog next week, and you can read a bit about. We have made an interview, or Alina made an interview with one of the responsible, and it worked well. So, okay, we are now in this ILIAS 10, and this, let's say, end of active support, end of next year, so it's a lot of time to use ILIAS 10, and I hope a lot of you will update to that version pretty soon. I hope we do this as well at the Doku. But as you know, we need all plugins compatible with the version, something I will mention or talk about later after the coffee break. So we are working on ILIAS 11 now for months, and also for this version, a short look on the roadmap. The next step, the next breaking point is coding completed end of October. We still discussing feature requests in the Jurfix and accept them. There's still a bit of time to realize them, but it goes slowly to the end. So at end of October, we know what will be part of ILIAS 11. And then we start with testing. About testing, Fabian Kruse will talk about later. Starts at 3rd of November, and we hope to publish a stable release mid-March. We hope we can realize the stable version a bit quicker than this year with ILIAS 10. But let's say circumstances have changed also a bit. Yeah, and then, okay, again, end of active support, end of 27, and end of security bug fixes 28. So if you remember what I told you, let's say last year about ILIAS 10 with a long list of abandoned features, this time it's a bit shorter. We have already some features removed, like the advanced search, CAS identification, hints and test questions, history in web links, and the possibility to set metadata by web service, by SOAP's interface in courses, groups, and web links. So this is already removed. There are 3 requests accepted by the Jurfix, but the code is still in trunk. It's like what you see, the additional info page in the test, notifications in test, and the old implementation of personal default settings in test, because there something has changed. We will get a new implementation for 11 on the next slide. There are a couple, and even more than you see on this list, a couple of features that are suggested to be abandoned. If you see one of them and you think, oh, that would be a pity to lose them, you feel free to comment, or also because some of these features are suggested to abandon because there's no funding to let's say update them to new kitchen sink elements and so on. So if some of these features are important for you, use the option still to get influence to it. We have also a couple of new features at the moment. Let's say it's on the list of implemented or features that are in development. It's about 25, something like that. We have several improvements in data collection. Oliver will talk about that in a minute. The test comes with pseudonymization and manual scoring, and what I mentioned, the revision and the improvement of the personal default settings, manual sorting on the dashboard of favorites and my courses and groups. We have a quite nice presentation now of the user's learning progress in courses, groups, and folders. You see this panel, this on the right side, where you got this progress meter that shows you your personal learning progress in that course, if the learning progress is constructed by several elements of several objects of the course. ILIAS push notification service, the OER harvester, which we have already extended, improved in 9, now gets even more object types that you can harvest and provide as open educational resources. We now can search for objects in ILIAS according to licenses, if they are, for example, let's say Creative Commons license tagged. And also the search results are now presented in the kitchen sink presentation. Mail, some new features, and we gonna do for all of you which use ILIAS to teach math, we have a streamline of the LaTeX usage in ILIAS. Oliver, you want to talk a bit about the data collection. We put out that component to show you a bit what has happened in the data collection with ILIAS 10 and what your plans are for 11. So it's up to you. Oliver Samuila, he's one of the authorities of the data collection. Please, up to you.
Hello. We switched to German again.
Why?
Because of me. Ich möchte gern, dass ihr mich zum großen Teil versteht. Ich entschuldige mich bei denen, die kein Deutsch sprechen. Die Slides are in English. Aber wenn ich das auf Englisch mache, verstehen mich auch die Deutschsprachigen jetzt nicht vernünftig. Zumindest nicht in dem Detailgrad, in dem ich mir das vorstelle. Genau, Matthias hatte mich gebeten, ein paar Worte zu sagen, weil wir innerhalb der Datensammlung doch versuchen aufzuräumen und voranzukommen. Wer sind wir? Wir sind Ingmar Smeis für die Coding Authority und ich für die Concept Authority. Wir haben das Ganze im Mai 2024 übernommen, zu der Zeit auch noch unterstützt durch Per Pascal Seeland von der Uni Stuttgart und versuchen uns in dieser Komponente, von der wir immer mal wieder feststellen, dass sie doch sehr bunte Anwendungsszenarien unterstützen soll, Dinge, die man nicht unbedingt erwartet, eben Ordnung zu schaffen, sie fortzuentwickeln. Das heißt, wir haben uns jetzt vor allen Dingen darauf fokussiert, das Bugfixing voranzutreiben und das Refactoring. Ich weiß nicht, Ingmar sitzt wo? Da, ganz hinten, okay. Ich glaube, das, worüber wir am glücklichsten sind, ist, dass hier steht, noch 2 Bugs sind offen. Also dafür, dass wir das halt mal mit einer großen Last übernommen haben und das, obwohl schon auch in Vorgängerzeiten Timon Amstutz da massiv Arbeit reingesteckt hat, ist ein Zustand, den wir jetzt einfach sehr gut finden. Wir arbeiten viel daran, auch noch dysfunktionalen. Wir arbeiten viel daran, dysfunktionalen Code da drin loszuwerden. Das ist auch an vielen Stellen ist die Komponente auf Dinge vorbereitet wurden, die dann aber noch gar nicht kamen. Und das macht natürlich auch die Wartung entsprechend kompliziert. Neben dem, was im Code passiert, geht es uns aber vor allen Dingen auch darum, dass es für die Anwender einfach leichter verwendbar wird. Das heißt, wir versuchen zum einen Komplexität in der Bedienung runterzuschrauben, obwohl das Tool halt recht viel gleichzeitig will, und auch einfach Dinge abzuschaffen, zu entsorgen, die eigentlich funktional nicht erforderlich sind oder aber mehrfach auftreten und dann dadurch eine schlechte Erlernbarkeit einfach entsteht. Erlernbarkeit ist dann auch der vorletzte Punkt, nämlich das ganze Streamlining im Verhältnis zu anderen Komponenten. Die Datensammlung bietet da doch einige schräge Sonderlocken, die wir Stück für Stück wegschneiden oder aber gegen das ersetzen, was man in ILIAS an Anwendungsmechanismen, an User Experience kennt. Und damit kommen wir sozusagen auch neben der User Experience durch Streamlining auch zum Thema Kitchen Sink. Das heißt, auch da gibt es viel umzustellen. Und zu guter Letzt möchten wir natürlich auch Funktionen erweitern. Ich werde nicht durch die gesamte Liste jetzt durchgehen. Matthias hatte gerade schon für das Release 10 für das Release 11 die Liste schon mal mit drauf. 10 sei mal dahingestellt. Ich habe es deshalb mit aufgenommen, weil es eben diesem Fokus folgt. Aufräumen, dafür Ordnung drin sorgen, irgendwie Verständlichkeit schaffen. Das sind teilweise nur kleine Features, aber sie orientieren sich eben daran, dass bestimmte Dinge funktional vollständig sind. Das heißt eben auch, die Metadaten unterstützt werden, der Tiny MCI daraus verschwindet. Dass, obwohl man schon jetzt bis Release 9 mit dem Page-Editor darin arbeiten kann, aber zum Beispiel eben keine Style Sheets verwenden kann, alle solche Dinge nachzuarbeiten. Und das Gleiche setzt sich jetzt für das Release 11 fort. Das heißt, wir schaffen vor allen Dingen Ordnung, sorgen für so ein paar Füllungen, Lücken im Puzzle, die da vorhanden sind, die man eigentlich erwarten würde, wie es funktioniert, die entsprechend auszufüllen und versuchen damit eben die Komponente einfach möglichst gut nutzbar zu machen. Und das, was ich sozusagen als Aufruf nur noch mitnehmen will oder mitgeben will, ist, wir haben natürlich auch noch eine ganze Reihe Ideen. Wir haben auch die Ideen, ich sag mal einmal durchgekämmt, was da so im Feature-Wiki alles stand, auch weil Dinge einfach inzwischen outdated sind, weil Dinge inzwischen da sind. Aber es gibt eben eine ganze Reihe von Dingen, die wir auch gerne mit euch als Community machen wollen, wenn ihr da noch Interesse dran habt, an der Komponente mit weiterzuentwickeln durch eure Anwender. Jo. Ich habe den Auftrag, relativ zügig zu bleiben.
Ja, wenn es Fragen gibt direkt dazu, kann man natürlich gerne jetzt hier stellen, wo wir gerade beim Thema sind. If there are questions according to the data collection. Thanks a lot what you have. It's amazing what you've done in the last months and years and bring forward the data collection. I like it very much because it's such a powerful tool. We have so much possibility with it, and we have really feel the improvement of usability and also how it works together. I'm very happy about it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So then we go to the next point, and that's security. And I'm happy that Rob can take over a part. Rob, how is our security? Are we secure?
If you heard about the recent NPM package, I'm not that sure, but we'll figure that out as well. So I'm gonna have a little talk about the ILIAS security group in the name of the security group. No one of them is actually here, but members from technical board, such as me and Michael, who are regularly joining the security group meetings, are here, and we talk to them, ask them if it's okay if we do this talk. They said it's fine, so I'm gonna take over today. Just a short introduction about the ILIAS security group. It's an expert group currently consisting of 4 people that works together with the technical board, which means we are in this regular exchange with them. Once a month we have a meeting and talk about current security bugs, what we still need to reproduce, what else is open, how to contact the developers, and so on. So that's what they're actually doing. We receive, analyze, and process all the security reports of ILIAS, and together with the release manager over there, Fabian Wolf, they are coordinating the security releases. I think the last one was last week or 2 weeks ago. Time's flying by, especially during the summer vacation. What we are doing is we have a ticketing system which is based on Summit. It's you can access it or you can send emails to it via security@ilias If you do a first request, you will get a PGP key. Otherwise, we will put this PGP key somewhere in the internet in order for you to directly contact the security group. I'm not sure if we have found a good place for it yet, but soon we will, and then you will find out where it is. Next to it, we have a special Mantis project, which is called ILIAS Security, and this is just as you know, the Mantis bug tracker, but it's filled with a little more metadata than the usual one, in order for us to keep track on which exact versions of ILIAS are not secure and which one do have the bug fixes. And one thing we achieved, I think it was a couple of months ago, we started in April. Maybe has anybody heard of the security blog yet in this room? Nah, okay. All right, about 8 to 10 people. So I will just show you. It's located on ilias.de/security, and we're using the ILIAS blog. And with every ILIAS release, we just tell you about the issues, the current security issues that are resolved. You can see here, if we do have a CVSS score, you will see it, and you will find all the versions that are affected and all the versions that are fixed. And you will also, if you ever find a security issue in ILIAS and send it to us, you will receive a mention that you reported it and that some developer solved it. So as I said, we're currently, so the security group currently only consists of 4 people. Those are Alex Hartwig from Qualitus, David Toka from Beka Media GmbH, Robin Baumgartner from ISR Solutions, and Tim Bongers from CAD Concepts and Training. And formerly we were 5 people. Now we're currently 4, but due to the amount of security bugs we can find and we're finding, especially some secure affine members from the ILIAS community, it would be great to find 1 or 2 more people to support us in handling all the security reports that we receive and that we will have to process in the future. So some requirements at last. It would be great if you're interested in joining the security expert group. You should be interested in security topics. It would be great if you were able to set up an ILIAS installation of your own, just to have like a local installation and reproduce all the bugs. It depends on the amount of issues we receive. It's about 2 hours work a week, and this 1 monthly exchange, which usually takes 60 minutes, but it's planned up to 90 minutes. And if anybody's now intrigued and thinks, yeah, security, that's pretty interesting, and I want to learn a bit more, or if you want to tell us about your knowledge and assist us in handling the security reports, it would be great if you could contact us to the technical board, and then you will find your place in the security group. So far, so good. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope you can make the contracts outside already, then sign for the signature.
It's waiting at the door.
Okay, so next again, Oliver, and a report about legacy UI, removing legacy UI and kitchen sink in ILIAS. And now in French, right?
Ich lasse das jetzt mit dem Ostdeutschen. Ich spreche kein Sächsisch, davon hat da niemand was. Legacy UI und Kitchen Sink, wo stehen wir? Ich stehe ja nun inzwischen irgendwie gefühlt die 6., 7. Entwicklungskonferenz zu dem Thema hier vorne. Habe es nicht nachgezählt, möchte aber sozusagen einmal den Status durchgeben, wo wir stehen, wo ich glaube, dass wir gerade Arbeit investieren und investieren müssen künftig noch. Habe ein paar Punkte gestrafft, weil ich glaube, dass eben das irgendwann zu viel Redundanzen hat. Wichtigster Punkt ist, wir haben das ganze Projekt nicht mit Release 11 zu einem Abschluss bringen können oder werden es nicht zu einem Abschluss gebracht haben, wenn Coding Completed Ende Oktober ansteht. Das hat einfach was damit zu tun, dass insgesamt ein recht hoher Aufwand notwendig ist, um das ganze Projekt durchzuführen. Wir arbeiten in nahezu allen Komponenten, die irgendwie ein User Interface haben. Und das hat aber auch was damit zu tun, dass nicht nur die personellen Ressourcen irgendwo limitiert sind, das ist ein limitierender Faktor, sondern es ist natürlich auch eine Frage der Finanzierung des gesamten Projektes. An beiden Stellschrauben müssen wir im Grunde versuchen zu drehen, um das ganze Projekt durch die Tür zu bringen. Wir haben einen inzwischen etwas veralteten Plan. Ich habe ihn nochmal mit aufgenommen, damit man sozusagen einfach verstehen kann, was sich hier tut. Wie gesagt, mit ILIAS 11 haben wir nicht all das, was mal ursprünglich auf dem Plan stand, jetzt bearbeiten können. Die Logik folgt den Lernfortschritts-Icons hier einfach. Das heißt also, alle Dinge, die gerade gelb markiert sind, sind auch in Bearbeitung, aber eben nicht vollständig abgeschlossen. Das führt einfach dazu, dass auch wenn das jetzt bei ILIAS 11 unglaublich kurz aussieht, das ein bisschen eine verzerrte Optik bietet. Wir arbeiten in ganz vielen Komponenten daran, eben die Dinge, die jetzt nach neuem Stand für ILIAS 12 als deprecated markiert sind, weiter reduziert und weiter abgearbeitet werden, die ganzen Umstellungen vollzogen werden. Wer möchte, wir haben inzwischen ja schon eine test11.ilias.de, auf der man sozusagen den aktuellen Trunk sich auch anschauen kann, und wer das gegen 10 oder gegen 9 abgleicht, wird sehen, da ist eine ganze Menge schon drin passiert, aber es ist eben Arbeit in der Fläche. Damit das Ganze vielleicht ein bisschen griffiger wird, auf der linken Seite stehen alle möglichen Komponenten, um die wir uns im Rahmen dieses Projektes auch kümmern. Und ich habe versucht, die Zählweise ist ein bisschen an der einen oder anderen Stelle mit Salz zu nehmen. Ich habe versucht, einmal darzustellen, wo wir wirklich große Fortschritte haben. In der Regel dann entsprechend auch wirklich mit 100% und grün gekennzeichnet. Das heißt, wir sind die alten Modale losgeworden, die alten Overlays, die alten Panels, auch die alten Tooltips, die für die Hilfe verwendet werden, sind inzwischen alle so umgestellt, dass dafür jeweils Kitchen-Sink-Elemente verwendet werden. Wir haben eine Reihe von Reduktionen schon bei solchen Themen wie den Buttons, wo nur noch kleine Rester übrig sind, die teilweise für andere Komponenten wichtig sind. Und das eigentlich dickste Brett sozusagen, was jetzt hier steht, sind die Tables, weil das einfach die große, schiere Masse ist, die umgestellt werden muss. Und das Gleiche trifft aber auch nochmal auf sowas zu wie die Confirmation Screens und das, was hier als Legacy Explorer steht. Also alles da, wo irgendwo aus dem Baum, aus dem Tree heraus Dinge entnommen werden. Das heißt, da gibt es eine ganze Reihe zu tun. Ich habe hier unten extra 2 Sterne dran gemacht und es mit runtergeschrieben. Wie gesagt, die Zahlen bei der Table und bei den Toolbars sind bitte nicht für bare Münze zu nehmen. Das hat einfach was damit zu tun, wie diese Daten erhoben werden. Das, was allerdings relevant ist, ist die Frage, wie viel vom kompletten Stack haben wir ungefähr weggearbeitet. Es gibt eine Reihe von Dingen, mit denen wir uns an der Stelle noch nicht beschäftigt haben. Das matcht sozusagen auf die Darstellung von vorher. Das sind solche Anwendungen, also solche UI-Elemente wie die Nested List. Das findet man dann, wenn man zum Beispiel in Druckdialoge, also PDF-Erstellungsdialoge, in Lernmodulen, in Portfolios und so weiter geht, weil das einfach im Moment noch nicht durch nichts zu ersetzen ist. Den Syntax-Highlighter und den Text-Highlighter, also Syntax-Highlighter ist dann gerade für die Abbildung von Code entweder im Page-Editor erforderlich oder aber auch für die Kitchen-Sink-Dokumentation. Der Text-Highlighter im Lernmodul, im Glossar, und auch noch eine große Baustelle wird die Umstellung der Tabs sein, weil wir einfach sehr viele Tabs im System haben und sich zeigen wird, überhaupt erstmal zeigen muss, wie wir die UI-seitig künftig zusammenstellen wollen, was das für eine UI-Komponente sein muss. Jetzt möchte ich, wie die letzten Male, auch wieder auf 1, 2 Sachen zeigen, die wir gerade schon umgestellt haben oder umstellen werden. Jetzt ist das nicht so richtig fancy, wenn ich hier jedes Mal eine Tabelle zeige und sage, wir haben wieder eine Tabelle umgestellt. Ihr wisst inzwischen, glaube ich, alle, wie eine Tabelle aussieht, auch im neuen Kitchen Sink Flair. Ein Beispiel dazu rechts, und Matthias hat es aber in seiner Aufzählung der Entwicklung gerade schon mit drauf. Wir sehen zum Beispiel eben auch eine sehr viel attraktivere Darstellung für den Lernfortschritt des Users. Wie gesagt, gerne unter Test 11 auch schon aufrufbar und einfach mal auszuprobieren, um besser erkennen zu können, was ist denn der eigentliche Status, wo stehe ich da prozentual und das Ganze eben unter Anwendung von KitchenSink UI Elementen. Zwei Dinge, die ich sozusagen nach vorne blickend zeigen will, ist das eine, ist die Frage, wie wir künftig Confirmation Screens darstellen, also Bestätigungsmeldungen, immer dann, wenn es irgendwelche irreversiblen Prozesse gibt, wo ich etwas beispielsweise lösche, muss eine Bestätigungsmeldung entstehen. Momentan haben wir dafür große, teilweise sehr unübersichtliche Tabellenstrukturen. Das Ganze soll in Modale wandern, die wiederum hier jetzt auch, also das ist dann kein Modal, sondern wirkt wie ein Modal. Technisch ist das ein sogenannter Prompt, in dem aber auch wiederum andere KitchenSink-Elemente weiterverwendet werden. Das heißt also, das ist eine Messagebox, da steht dann die Nachricht drin, was soll hier gerade passieren, was wird gelöscht, wie viele Menschen, wie viele User werden hier gerade entfernt und so weiter. Und das Ganze angereichert um verschiedene Informationen, die im jeweiligen Kontext relevant sind. Beim User natürlich andere Informationen, als wenn ich Testfragen löschen würde. Ein zweites Beispiel, auch gerade noch in Bearbeitung, ist, dass wir das Hinzufügen von Usern beispielsweise umstellen werden und werden dafür sogenannte Tag-Input verwenden. Wann fügen wir User hinzu? Es geht um sowas wie das Hinzufügen in Mitgliedschaftsrollen oder aber in die Reihe der Participants im Test, in der Survey und an vielen anderen Stellen. Wie soll das künftig funktionieren? Wir nutzen das bereits bestehende Tag-Input, das jetzt erweitert wurde durch Stefan Kergomar, und werden dann da auch eine Autocompletion drin haben, die sozusagen dazu führt, dass ich einfach hier entsprechend separiert in Formularen, ob das in einem Modaldialog ist oder ob das auf einer eigenen Seite ist, völlig egal, immer nach dem gleichen Schema autovervollständigt die Informationen da drin habe. Warum ist das spannend, das so zu machen? Weil es eine ganze Reihe anderer Anwendungskontexte gibt, die das künftig genauso verwenden werden. Wenn ich eine Mail schreibe, dann kriege ich die gleichen Mechanismen dafür. Wenn ich Verteilerlisten verwende in Mails, funktioniert das auf dem gleichen Weg. Also es geht immer darum, diese Dinge so zu machen, dass sie für eine breite Nutzung am Ende dienen. Es gibt durchaus eine ganze Menge Dinge, die wir gerade machen, und es gibt eine ganze Menge Dinge, die wir noch tun müssen. Das heißt, die Integration von Filtern in die Datentabelle, ich muss gerade selber hören, das Ausrollen dieses Tree Multiselects, das ist sozusagen das Kompensieren des jetzigen Explorers, also das Auswählen aus den Baumansichten heraus, die Modaldialoge, wie schon gesagt, wir haben immer mal wieder Erweiterungsbedarfe, auch an der Data Table noch an der neuen, weil bestimmte Datenformate abgebildet werden wollen. Wir reden aber auch von solchen Features, die dann vielleicht eher einen Usability-Charakter haben, wie das zum Beispiel über Sessions hinweg bestimmte Werte gespeichert werden. Beispielsweise will ich, wenn ich in der Administration den User irgendetwas verarbeite, nicht jedes Mal mir meine Filterkriterien oder meine Tabellenstrukturen neu zusammenklicken. Das könnte durchaus den einen oder anderen Admin vielleicht dann wahnsinnig machen. Geht auch darum, überblicken zu können, wie viele Elemente habe ich ausgewählt, wenn das eine große Bestandszahl ist. Das sind aber alles Dinge, die eben auch noch bearbeitet werden wollen. Neben dem Inhalt ist aber auch immer wichtig zu zeigen, wie wir sozusagen organisatorisch dabei vorankommen. Deswegen zeige ich jedes Mal auch wieder die Liste derer, die sich sozusagen am Projekt mit Funding und mit Arbeit zusätzlich auch daran beteiligt haben. Das sind jetzt hier neu dazugekommen die Helmut-Schmidt-Universität und die Universität Bonn, und es sind eine ganze Reihe von Institutionen dabei, die auch tatsächlich ein wiederkehrendes Mal diese ganze Finanzierung unterstützen. Da gehören die Uni Bern dazu, da gehört die THOWL dazu, da gehört die Universität Freiburg dazu, da gehört Hohenheim dazu. Es ist eine ganze Reihe derer, und deswegen erstmal vielen Dank schon mal an alle, die sich bis hierhin beteiligt haben. Alle, die sich nicht auf der Liste sehen, sind herzlich eingeladen, auf die Liste zu kommen. Ich freue mich jedes Mal, wenn die Schriftgröße ein bisschen kleiner wird, weil das bedeutet, dass die Liste länger geworden ist. Das heißt also, bitte prüft, überlegt, ob ihr irgendwie eine Möglichkeit seht, in dieses Projekt mit zu investieren, sodass wir hier entsprechenden Vortrieb bekommen. Wenn ihr dabei Unterstützung braucht, inhaltlicher Natur, mit Dokumenten für Entscheider oder wenn irgendwas erklärt werden soll, sprecht mich bitte an, das ist ein Teil meiner Aufgabe dabei. Wo stehen wir, was das Funding angeht? Tatsächlich suchen wir absehbar, ich versuche diese Zahl immer möglichst real zu halten, was sich nicht ganz einfach gestaltet. Ich gehe davon aus, dass wir immer noch ein Volumen von etwa 200 Personentagen suchen, die wir in dieses Projekt stecken müssen. Tendenziell ist es immer eher mehr. Es ist immer die Frage, was man alles noch machen möchte. Aber wir reden halt, also nicht mehr von 200 Tabellen oder 100 Confirmation Screens, es sind weniger geworden, natürlich durch verschiedene Umstellungen, aber das ist wie die Nummer mit den Tabs vorhin angekündigt, halt, das sind die Stellen, wo viel gemacht werden muss und wo entsprechend auch einfach noch hohe Aufwände auf uns zukommen werden, um das gesamte System zu ertüchtigen. Von daher, meldet euch bitte gern, wenn ihr irgendwie eine Chance seht oder Unterstützung braucht, und damit gebe ich an Matthias zurück.
Thanks, Oliver. And I would like to invite Richard to go on and tell us a bit about the component revision. Also a project we are talking about now, second or third time. Richard Klees from CAT and
Hello,
member of the
everyone.
technical board.
I need to speak slowly because of English, but I can do it in English. So bear with me. Yes, as Matthias said, we are talking about that project now for I think like 3 years in a row. I have presented several technical talks about the project, so I'm quite sure that most of you should be familiar with that project or should even be able to familiarize themselves now because everything's on the internet. So we just talk about the status now. I would like to start with a quick summary of feedback I have received about that project. It's deliberately only kind of negative feedback. I also received positive feedback, but that's also stuff that I got in return. Like we might see the importance why you do that, but we'd rather like to keep the old stuff. Would be better. Or, yeah, it's nice that you do that, but if you do that, we will have additional effort to update our instances or our plugins. So do you really need to do that? Or I have received feedback like, oh, it's nice that you do that, but my super special use case that I do with components now is not, I can't do that anymore if you do that. So please don't. That brings me to the point where I like to talk a little about all these revisions that we're currently doing. I think that's like the third revision we're talking about now, like data collection revision, legacy UI revision, component revision. Why do we do that? So ILIAS is now over 25 years old, and I think we're doing software development like for 75 years. So a third of the time that we are doing software development at all, we are doing the ILIAS development. And I think it's quite understandable that everything we're doing has evolved immensely in that time. So techniques, approaches have evolved. We learned a lot about how we can build software, how we should organize ourselves in working on software and stuff like that. Technology has evolved a lot. PHP is not what we have started out with. New ideas come in. The web has changed a lot, like for security reasons and stuff like that. Even my father uses web technology now. He didn't for 25 years ago. And also expectations have changed. So we're seeing a lot of software, and we can compare software, and we see, okay, that works like that there, but not there. Why? And stuff like that. So also our code base needed to change. And this is why we are doing all these revisions. We need to put up the pace there and do stuff like we do it now. And I think it's quite similar to living in an old house. So none of you would like to live in an original house from the 18th century. It's nice to live in a house from the 18th century which is brought up to date, like have electricity or toilet and stuff like that, maybe central heating. But if you would live or work in a house of the 18th century, you wouldn't be very happy. And I think it's quite similar to ILIAS. So we need to, it's okay that it's 25 years old, but it can't can't stay that way completely. So the component revision is just like the idea that we should try to integrate our components into the complete ILIAS system, like we would do it in 2025, not in 2000. And the general idea is, you can read on that page that I linked there. So I want to talk a little about the motivation why we do that, and we, it's not all the developers. We, at this point, specifically my company, CAT, our business model is we run software as a service business on top of ILIAS, so we're not like doing software development in ILIAS. We run that software as a service business, and that is why we need ILIAS to be modern, to be maintainable, that you can fix bugs, that you can change stuff, and we like the ILIAS community for because it's a place where we find other people to cooperate with us on that sustainability topic. And it was very nice in the past. I think it's very successful. We have an admin, Dennis Witt, you know him, I think, and he said, "I never thought 10 years ago that ILIAS would be like that in 10 years." And that's, I think we haben viel erreicht. We reached a lot, yeah. And also, we as CAT, we don't get paid for these contributions. We pay them via our software as a service business. And it's okay because we have strong partners in the community that do that stuff with us. So for the component revision, we have framework and tools in ILIAS 10, so we can work on that component revision on the next steps now. We have 2 pull requests from Niels for plugins to be moved to the component revision. But my personal motivation to follow up on that stuff is not too good at the moment, because I'm not sure if the ILIAS community wants to be the place where we can cooperate on sustainability of our software. And that is why I won't promise any further steps for the component revision now. I would be happy to make some, but at the moment I won't be the one to push any further, I think. So the citations I had on the first page, they weren't actually about the component revision. I gathered them from another revision we did, setup revision. I think you might remember that discussion, and I think the basic structure of the discussion was exactly the same. Why do you do that? And that was completed 5 years ago. And I was very happy when Ralf Schenk, who was an opponent of the setup revision, talked about our new nice setup like 2 years ago. And so we can do that even if we feel we don't like to. So I want to end with the request to you to partner with us on that topic. And yeah. Can we move that component revision forward? Do we want to? Do you, as ILIAS community, want to move our system to the 2025? Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Richard. Questions or comments to Richard? You don't go that far away because we need you in some minutes for the next presentation. Just a question for me. What will happen now if we stop the component revision?
Nothing. It just works like that. So we are stuck in the place where we are now. We have like 25 different versions of how components talk to each other, and now we have 26, and it's fine. I think so.
But fine with annotation marks.
Yes, fine in annotation marks. Yeah, it's just another way to integrate stuff now, and it obviously works because we have ILIAS 10, and it can stay that way.
But the next step would be to move to the plugins to the
Yes.
to the component concept. And what else?
Like all components should move to that integration concept to make that fully workable, to gain all the profits from that change. So we won't reap any profits from that until we move most stuff to that system. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Question. Wait, Stefan?
Max was first. And he already has a microphone. So.
Okay.
Wonderful. First of all, I would like to say thank you for pushing especially the component revision forward. But as you mentioned, the ILIAS code base is 25 years old. Programming, I think about 80. We are in a constant process of reinventing ourselves, our craft, and in many places in ILIAS, I tell this to our new developers all the time, look into sediment layers of best practices from the last 2 decades. And they sometimes come back to me and tell me, yes, that is true, I see that. We've seen many attempts to revolutionize, unify, and overhaul ILIAS in the past 1.5 decades almost that I am in this project. Have patience with people who have seen this happening very often, attempts to fix it all now and have this major overhaul of everything. Some things will need further discussion, but we need champions who stand in the storm and take the heat if their developments are challenged, questioned. Do not give up on this. Even though, even me personally will be a little pest for you.
Yeah, I think I've done so in the past, but now I'm like tired. I'm just tired.
Next, Stefan Kermer.
Yeah, I think those who know me know that I'm a big fan of what's going on and what's happening, and I think it is wrong. It is not 100% correct that we should actually be able to live with the current state, because yes, it's true that the lava layers stay there, and we're not going to get them down to zero. That's not the question of it. But there is so much gold here that we could leverage, that we really, really should work together to get this done. And this is a thing that we need to do together. And the thing I don't agree with you, Max, is that it shouldn't be the responsibility of Richard to stay positive. It is the responsibility of the community to treat him and what he is doing with respect and to motivate. And that's, I think, the key point, because all of us need to be motivated to go on working. Because if we would do it for the money, we wouldn't be here. Honestly, there is better ways to earn money. The entry salary at Google a few years ago, still in the US, is $360 a year, and that's just the money you get. You get the same amount on top on benefits. So if we would want to earn money, we wouldn't be here. So let's keep it on our side and try to be motivating about the people that have to push it, and not tell them that they should weather the storm that we are producing. It's not. The storm doesn't happen magically. It's we that are producing.
So, thank you again. And we go on with the next topic is language improvements and gender mainstreaming. And I want to invite Kendra and Fabian. Tell us a bit about what has happened there, or what is currently happening there, please. So we need one microphone. Perfect. Rob is helping you.
Yes, hi, hello. So we want to keep you updated about changes in the German and English language files within the last year, I think, since Graz, more or less. So yeah, I will just start right away. Yes, I'm responsible for the replacing mail nouns by inclusive language in the German, only German language file with the lovely working group for many years now, 4 years. At the moment, we are concerned with Teilnehmer, participants, in certain objects and contexts, and have been for I think 1 or 2 years now already. Most important for you, as always, is to look at the feature wiki pages, changed language entries 4, and then there's one for 8, 9, 10, 11 in the feature wiki in language handling category. So that's where the information is always. So look at that. And to tell you something more of a detail. So in ILIAS 10 there will not be any Teilnehmer, so participant, but only the German Teilnehmer anymore. None in certificate, date planner, in the course, in the group, so referring to ILIAS 10. So this, learning sequence and exercise is what we have been working on for ILIAS 11. So some of the things are already committed, some will be. So those were more than 350 language variables in total with a Teilnehmer in it, of which we have discussed more than 100. So that's a lot of work. Yes, as always, we managed to delete redundant language variables. So that's always what we want to achieve. We have replaced some. We have to split some up. We specify, we unify. So that's always part of the work. And not to forget, also as I'm responsible for the online help text in terms of these changes. This has been made ready for ILIAS 9 with the lovely people in the online help group. So this is ready, and we will have our kickoff for ILIAS 10 next week to change what we have changed in the language file in the German one and ILIAS 10. So yeah. Also, as always, I want to give you a glimpse of what those changes are. So yeah, that's now always weird to change the German English stuff and get it mixed together, but we'll try. So there were quite prominent changes in the course, for example, group likewise, of course. Also learning sequence and session were applicable in terms of, subtabs, for example. So this is the state of 10. So there is Verwalten, as you know, was different. Gallery wasn't consistent over the objects, so now it's just Galerie, not Teilnehmergalerie, not Mitgliedergalerie. So they were different, and English still different. So will have to be worked on later. And export also. Mitglieder wasn't Mitglieder, but was Teilnehmer. Yeah, so that's part of the streamlining process that you can see there. It's shorter now, and yeah, it wasn't consistent in the first place. So it was Mitglieder as tab. so members, as it still is, but there was some Teilnehmer all around. So Teilnehmer is not really, let's say, well-defined, or it's not a certain group, it's not well-defined term in the course. So maybe you have an idea what it is, but it's not like you don't really know. What we know is there are members, there are tutors still in English, and administrators, of course. So yeah, now it's more unified. It makes more sense. Hopefully you can. Yeah, hopefully you like it. Also, this is one of the group, but still the same. What we also managed to do is, I mean, it was Export der teilnehmenden Daten before in ILIAS 9. And the heading was Export Dateien, and we changed it to this. So we have now only export in the subtab, but we didn't want to lose the the very important fact that there is personal data involved of the members that will be exported. So we managed to sneak in the personal data info in the header of the table. Yes. You get the idea, I guess. Yeah, so this is slow but steady work. So we have been doing this for 4 years now, and it gets, let's say, it doesn't get easier to get meaningful, good new terms. It's not a copy-paste process, otherwise it wouldn't have taken us so long. So what you need to remember is that we have changed most of the mail nouns. So it would be nice, please remember not to reintroduce them into the language file if you can, but look at the stuff that's there in the feature wiki, and also style guide for language. I'm still working on it, and also please ask me anytime if you introduce new stuff, if it's not clear, because it's really not easy to say what would be the best solution. This would be the best idea. So this shows I know that you have seen this many times now already in a different form with different colors, but we are on the big part in terms of the mail nouns now. So it does take some time, but good progress, I guess, in the last year. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm standing here in the name of Chris Potter, basically, today, who cannot be here, which is a pity, because I do not play the ukulele and cannot really present it in a nice way that Chris would probably have done it. But maybe it's also good, because I can champion a bit the work that Chris is doing, which is, this is the one, which is a lot. Because basically what we are doing in a group of people, of long-term ILIAS users and specialists, if I dare to say so, Chris is doing on his own for the English language file, not in terms of neutralizing the language file, but in terms of improving it. And anybody who has ever had a look at an English language ILIAS will know that it hurts sometimes to see our translations. And Chris is really good at diving deeply into these topics. And maybe some of you developers will have been in touch with him, and probably sometimes you will be, oh no, another email from Chris asking me things about my component. But it's so important, because as we see today, we want to be an international project, so everybody's standing here trying to speak more or less English. And having a decent English language file is so important. So Chris has been working, you can read it for yourself basically, he has been working on the badges, the certificate, survey, has done the first part of the data collection for ILIAS 10. And it's not just that he's looking individually at the translations. He's looking at the whole big picture and really improving a lot of stuff on the go, just as we do with our group in German, which isn't. It's not just maybe you're not interested in gender neutral language in German, whatever it is, but we are always improving other things as well. And it's just details that we can show you, but 1,000 details will make for a better ILIAS. And same for Chris' contributions. He's currently working on the data collection part 2 and on the test and assessment, which is of course a huge component, a lot of work to do. And something else that could be of interest, I'm not really sure what will come out of this, but I was very surprised. Basically, Chris is now developing these spreadsheets, which have basically the current translation, the whole variable, where to find it. And this is like basically an explanation of how to produce these language entries, which is something that we, again, in our German group, we split it up about 4 or 5 people looking for these variables. It's a lot of work. And he's describing basically how to find these variables, making it much easier for other translators to translate into Italian, Spanish, other languages. I think this could be very useful. And these are published in the feature wiki. Yes, thank you, Chris. We are talking about thousands and thousands of entries. It's quite impressive. Of course, this is happening object by object, component by component. It's a lot of work. If this is interesting to you, if you have ideas on how to use it, I think it's very useful. It could be useful even for our group. We could maybe also find ways to cooperate here, because it's basically the same that we are doing. So very interesting. One more thing. Sentence case versus title case. This is about these. It's very specific in English. Chris already presented it on the SureFix. I will save us the time. If you're doing English translations, try to use the sentence case for options and bylines with checkboxes and radio buttons. If you don't ever do it, we're done. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you both. And this also shows, let's say, thanks to all our members from the ILIAS Verein, because as Fabian, Chris is paid by you as members of the ILIAS Verein, so we are able to support all the developers here with this great work that's done by you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, maybe just one word. What you see here, the style guide. Chris mentioned it, let's say, a year ago on the SureFix. We have this style guide mainly for developers that should help to write good English labels for ILIAS, because if you are developing a new feature or changing features, you always have to provide the German and the English language file. So if you are, in this case, that you, let's say, have to revise something or create something new, always have a look in the style guide. Chris tries to prepare that and to help tutoring you how to write good English. And maybe one day we also have installations in English-speaking countries, not unlike just before, where I always wondered why no one in the UK is using ILIAS. After Chris showed me the language file, I understand. Sorry. Okay, next point. We have so much topics in our program, so that's push it. We talk about activities and web services. Richard, and I unfortunately I didn't know who will join you from Minervis.
No one, I guess.
Okay.
I'm doing it all by myself. Minervis will hold their presentation in the afternoon, I think, and I hope many of you will attend. We are talking about activities in web services, also not a new topic. I hope you've heard about that thingy, but it's not as old as component revision, so I want to reiterate a little about the general idea behind these two words. Activities will be a way to talk about things that users would do with an object or service. Things you all do with ILIAS, like create a course or add a member to a course or stuff like that. So it's something basically all of you should be able to understand, and we have built a programmatic way to represent these things that users would do, and it's called activities. We can now encode these things, and activities are have a name that you should understand, a description that people should be able to understand, and a more technical definition of input and output to that activity, like what data do someone need to provide to add a user to a course, would be ID of the course and ID of the user. And also about the output that comes out of these activities. Of course, all activities can actually be performed. So we have like a nice little box that has a name, a description, and that can add users to courses or anything else that we encode in this way. And then we could use that well-defined and described box to do interesting stuff with it. For example, we can build our graphical user interface on top of these activities. We can provide documentation based on these activities. We can also talk again about a workflow engine at some point if someone is interested. And of course, what we also can do with these activities is web services. And that is the general idea of our project at the moment. So how will we produce web services on top of these activities? Every component can provide activities to the system via the mechanisms that we currently already have from the component revision. And then the web service component will seek these activities also via component revision and use that general structure that I talked about earlier to generate a JSON API on top of these activities. And these will be all activities in the system, so no need to like add member to course activity to the web service. This will just be there like magically. And also it will comprise activities from all plugins that are integrated into the system via component revision. So it's very open on the side of adding stuff to web services. And this is what we have been doing for quite some time now. We at the moment is HHU Düsseldorf. Tobias is sitting there. Elias is sitting there. Okay, Sebastian pointed to Tobias. Okay, it's Minervis from Saarbrücken. Andre, would you raise your hand for a moment? It's Andre from Minervis, and I think your colleagues have arrived. They're sitting in the back. And Kat, we have partnered up. We have built the framework for activities that took like a year, I think. Colleagues from Minervis have prototyped that web service JSON API implementation on top of these activities that we provided, and Minervis and Heinrich-Heine Universität have initiated a special interest group. It's called SIG REST for marketing reasons. So we think REST just sounds more appealing to many people. And they are just setting up that group, and all this work until now has been funded by our institutions and in some part also by the ILIAS NRW project. So what will happen next? So, falscher laptop, this one. So we will do first implementation of actual usable activities. I think we might get some for the study program, for SCORM, I think, and maybe for the tests. Tobias and Andre will try to get the SIG running. And then the next step will be that this prototype JSON API implementation will need some polish to be turned into a full and workable solution. So at the moment it works already, but I'm not quite sure if it's ready to be deployed on like production systems. And of course, we are looking for more partners to work on that important topic. So please join Tobias and Andre with the SIG REST. You will find the group there. Take your picture now, please, and go to the first meeting of that group.
Thank you, Richard. Thanks. Another good innovation for the ILIAS architecture, I think. I'm pretty looking forward to what we're going to have there.
Me too.
Great. Okay. Any questions to Richard?
What about testing activities? Sound useful for testing? Is this could this be a byproduct?
Yes, this could definitely be a byproduct. I think for one we can like skip the graphical user interface to test stuff like, is this member added to a group? So the description of the input is done via kitchen sink elements. So we can, there will be a really simple way to like have a catalog of all activities in the system and a formula a form where you can just perform that activity, and we can use this for testing. I think I'm not quite sure about the implications. Like maybe it could mean that we are testing like functionality and graphic, or maybe you can even automate some of the stuff. I'm not quite sure about that, but would be definitely useful for testing. Yes.
Thank you, I have a microphone. Any other questions or comments? No? Thank you, Richard. Okay, so next topic, also something that's quite common on our development conferences, the topic of accessibility, and I'm happy to present you 3 persons now. For some from you, maybe new faces, but highly welcome. So we have Tomke Vries, Nicole Dobosch, and Annette Gierke-Ungermann. And you're talking about accessibility. And you want to click? We start with Annette.
Hi. My name is Annette Gierke-Ungermann from the Keto, and I'm the new expert for accessibility. Hello? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to speak in English. We prepared in English, but maybe I must switch back to German, but I give my best. At first, I would say many thanks to Kendra Grotz and Wolfgang Schmidt-Silex for leading the SIG, who have promoted the issue so enthusiastically, and I'm happy to work with you both together for the next years, hopefully. Genau. After short period without chair, and after we get this topic in the advisory council, yes, Nicole and me applied for the position for the SIG accessibility chair, and yeah, since a week we are now the chair. So currently we are taking on the organizational tasks, and we can't give the presentation Wolfgang does the last years. So next, genau. Sorry, switch back. Normally, the status of accessibility tickets were presented at DevConf, among other things. And how I said before, unfortunately, we are unable to do this at present. But I promise, after we take over, and we will endeavor to present the tickets, maybe with a little bit more context. And I think in half of a year, to the next DevConf, yes, we get it. The last meeting for a week, we gather topics that we want to tackle together in the future, and the topics are presented by Nicole, and anyone who would like to participate is warmly invited. We need members like the persons who work with us in the SIG.
Right. Yeah, we had already a first brainstorming what could be possible topics last week. And yeah, there are like the results of it. For example, we would like to expand and update the accessibility toolbox because it needs to be updated. Then further like organize community tests and carry out to the BITV evaluations, then carry out the certification tests as well. Testing and support is needed too. And for sure we need to introduce some procedures about accessibility with the plugins, with the development itself. We need to support the obtaining quotes for the ILIAS developments. We need to test accessibility as early as we can before implementation. Then, of course, money is always a topic. We need to raise funds to support the accessibility, which did in the past, like mostly the University of Bern. Thank you for that. Then we need to clarify, okay, what services we need, what would you need from our side, from the SIG side as well. Do you need like consulting or support and stuff like that? Then we would love to work with different kind of projects together and like networking with other projects. Then these last 2 points are like, in my opinion, needed because accessibility is like a hard topic and we need to make the topic seen in a positive way because it's always a hard topic and like not maybe the best thing right now to see. Yeah, and it needs to be supported by everyone. Like everyone can do something about accessibility, if it's like money, if it's like participating at the SIG with us, helping with something. So we would warmly invite you to help us with that. Yeah, and two, we created already a small group which will deal with the accessibility bugs. The kickoff meeting is next week Wednesday, if I have it right in my mind. Yeah, that's money, as I said, needs to be secured. And after the financing from the University of Bern, the University of Hanover, the Leibniz University, will try to finance it too in the future, but of course we would need more money than that. And the current accessibility test will focus on several UI components. Right. And will be further processed in from tickets and through funding. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all. Just a short comment because that's also important. Annette, she's taken over the queue for the accessibility issues. Something that did Timon Amstutz for a long time, and on this plate I want also to thank Timon for having done this job for a long time. Thank you very much for Timon. And thank you so much that you've taken over this responsibility, and good luck, and we will help you. Yeah, okay, so welcome in the community. Okay, thanks. Just a short word about technical documentation. I do it on behalf of Anne-Christine, who is responsible for that, but it's not that much to tell you about that, but let's say give you some short words about it. We had for a long time, we had a so-called development guide. It was a learning module that we created, I guess, 15 years ago. It wasn't updated always. Some parts were still were quite important. Some stuff was more outdated. We started to substitute these texts 2 years ago with the help of Anne-Christine and transformed a lot of this content in so-called how-tos, how to do something. These documents are part also of the source code. They are so-called MD files, so everyone who installs or downloads ILIAS also get immediate access to these documents. But we also offer them embedded in a content page. This is the development how-tos, and this is now, let's say, our main source for getting notified, informed about development processes and stuff. So there's a short link, howto.ilias.de, have a look in it and update your bookmark, because the old dev guide is now more or less reduced to only a few chapters, and it will be closed fully. The rest of the document is just about the information about creating plugins. This will last, but all the rest is now in these how-tos that are available on the Doku installation as well as part of the ILIAS source code. And the other important thing, well, we already mentioned or presented the idea on the last development conference, is about a developer tutorial, our way to invite or help people who are interested in developing ILIAS and in joining our group of developers, and have a source document where you get we can learn all the concepts of ILIAS. We have already a couple of chapters and pages in this development tutorial, but due to funding that we have not at the moment, we are not able to contract developers to write the missing chapters there. So I hope maybe next year where there will be money again, but at the moment we have to stop the creation or the completion of the developer tutorials, which is very sad. I'm very sad about that, but we have no other choice. And the last thing is we have decided in the ILIAS Society and at the ILIAS office that Ann-Christine Gruber, which is over there, maybe you know her, that she also took over the responsibility for creating or updating the administration part of the online help. You know, you have the online help at the moment mainly focuses on that, all the texts and all the content for learners and tutors and those who are creating e-learnings. The administration document is parts of it are still, let's say, on the level or on the status that we got from Qualitus when they gave over the documentation of ILIAS to the ILIAS Society, and now Ann-Christine started to wrap that up to update that and to reorganize all this stuff. So this is something we're going to do on the level of technical documentation that also should give you help. An online help for you as administrators of ILIAS installation. Okay, that's for the technical documentation. And last but not least, because we are on a development conference, we are talking also a little bit about ILIAS 12. Just to give you the schedule, we have our first important date will be the 24th of November, when we have our so-called big project JurFix. This is the JurFix where we discuss the project we are planning for ILIAS 12. And then 2 weeks later, we will have our dependency JurFix, so all the dependencies that are announced for ILIAS 12. So these two events will start the life cycle of ILIAS 12, and then we go on with all this other stuff, which all happen in 2026. But these 2 dates are already remarkable. And more about ILIAS 12 we will talk about at the 45th DevConf in March, hosted by Katholische Hochschule Nordrhein-Westfalen. This is the, let's say, the mother institution of ANET, as you saw here. So another institution in Cologne that is using ILIAS, even if ANET is from Aachen, because they have several parts. But so you are welcome to the 45th development conference there.